Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be training you on how to use Bookshelf. Bookshelf is where you would be able to read and interact with your VitalSource ebook. First and foremost, you will access your VitalSource ebook through your learning management system or your LMS. You would go into your course in the LMS and click on the book link for your VitalSource ebook. Once you click on that link, you will be taken into Bookshelf. If you are a first-time Bookshelf user, you will see a pop-up screen that will ask you if you want to create a Bookshelf account. To create a Bookshelf account, you'll simply enter in your email address and then click continue, or you have the option to select no thanks, I'll skip this step. If you select no thanks, I'll skip this step, that will take you directly into the book where you can still read and interact with your book. However, if you click continue, you'll simply be asked to finish the registration process for creating a Bookshelf account by typing in your first and last name, choosing a security question and answer, and creating a password. Once you click finish, you will be taken directly into your book where you can begin reading your VitalSource ebook. So once you are in your VitalSource ebook, you'll come to the front page of your book. The book that I'm going to be using for the purpose of this training is called Health Insurance Today. There's multiple ways of navigating throughout your VitalSource ebook. First and foremost, if you hover over this navigation tab on the left side of your screen, if you get to the table of contents icon, you would be able to click on your table of contents tab and it would display the table of contents of your book. You can quickly get to a certain section of your book by clicking on one of your chapters or one of the units within your book. For this book's case, it's organized by units. So I would click on a specific unit. You'll notice that the chapters within that unit are actually linked, so I can simply click on that chapter and get taken to that specific chapter of the book. In the table of contents tab itself, you'll notice that there's dropout arrows that you can click on. This will allow you to navigate to certain chapters of the book. You can also navigate within a specific chapter to different sections of the book. To get back to the main table of contents screen, you'll simply click the back button until you return. In addition to the table of contents tab, you can also scroll through your book to read page by page. Some books will actually have front and back arrows on the left and right of the screen that you could click on as well. At the bottom of your navigation panel, you'll notice that there is a page number box. You can type in a specific page number in your page number box and then click enter, and that will take you directly to that page of the book. And lastly, you'll notice at the bottom of your navigation panel, there is an orange bar here. If you hover your mouse over the red part of that and hold down your mouse, you can drag that along. And this will allow you to quickly get to a specific page of the book. Once you want to get to that page, you'll release your mouse and that'll take you directly to that specific page of the book. In addition, one of the newer features that we've added to Bookshelf is the ability to add bookmarks. If there was a specific page of the book that you wanted to return to the next time you come into the ebook, you could hover over the bookmark icon at the bottom left of your screen and click Add Bookmark. That would add that page as a bookmark, so that the next time that you are in Bookshelf and you wish to get back to the page that you were previously on, you can click on the arrow button right next to the bookmark tab, click on the bookmark that you previously made, and that would take you directly to that bookmark again. You can create as many bookmarks as you wish, and if you no longer need a specific bookmark, simply click the X button next to the bookmark you wish to delete, and that will remove that bookmark. So in addition to navigating throughout your book, you do have the ability to adjust the text size of your book as well as zoom in and out. Keep in mind that this may not be available on all books. At the bottom right of your screen, if you click on the A icon, you have the ability to resize the text, so you can make the text larger or smaller. You can also zoom in or zoom out on the book as well. And again, just keep in mind that this isn't available on all titles, but it is an additional option if it is available. You also have the ability to print a certain amount of pages of the book at a time. Keep in mind that printing is not allowed for printing out the entire book at once. Instead, it is allowed for printing out a certain amount of pages at a time. So to print out a few pages at a time, you would click the print icon at the bottom right of your screen. You would select the page numbers that you wish to print out. I'm currently on page 218. If I wish to print pages 218 and 219, I can select those two pages and I can click print. Depending on the publisher restrictions, you may be restricted to only printing 2 pages at a time, or you may be restricted to printing up to 10 pages at a time. Keep in mind that even if you have printed 2 pages in the past, you can still always go back into your book and print another 2 pages and another 2 pages. So in addition to printing out pages of your book, we also have the ability for you to copy a citation in the book. If you were writing a paper and you needed to cite the book, you could click on the citation icon at the bottom right of your screen, and you have the ability to copy an MLA, APA, or Harvard format. So if I wish to click the MLA format, I would select copy, and I can paste this into a Microsoft Word document like so, and that would paste the citation for me if I were writing a paper. Keep in mind that the citations that we offer in Bookshelf should always be double checked to make sure that it is what your instructor is allowing. In addition to citing the book, if you had the need to link the book, you could click on the copy URL icon at the bottom right of your screen, and you could actually copy the specific URL of the page that you're on. So if you are writing a paper and you're able to copy that page URL, you can select copy, and you can paste that into a Word document like so. Okay, so now that we've talked about navigating throughout the book, there's a couple of cornerstone features of Bookshelf that I would like to go over. Some of the key features of Bookshelf include the ability to create notes and highlights that can sync across the platform and that students and faculty can share with each other, as well as being able to search across your entire library of book, as well as the book that you are currently reading. To search within your book, you can open up the search icon, and again at the left of your screen, you can click on the magnifying glass icon to open up the search box. You can always exit out of the previous tab that you were in, the table of contents tab, and that will allow your reading screen to be a little bit bigger. To search throughout your book, you will type in a word or phrase. I'm going to type in a word, and then you would click enter. And it's going to search across your entire book for that exact word or phrase. So you'll notice that you can scroll through the search box to see the different ways that your search term has appeared. I can click on a specific search result to get directly to that page of the book where you'll notice that that word is going to be highlighted. It's going to default to display search results in the current book that you're reading. However, if you had multiple books on your Bookshelf account, you could click over to all books, and any book that you had on your Bookshelf account, for example, if you were taking a class with more than one book, it would display that search result as well, and you could simply click the down arrow next to the book that you wish to look at the search results for, and you could actually click directly into a search result, and that would open up that page of the book. But going back to the current book, again, it's going to be sorted by book order first to last, but you could always sort by book order last to first. To clear out a search result, you'll click the X button. You can also search for a specific phrase in your book as well. For example, if I wish to search for the phrase accountable care organization, I would simply put that phrase in quotation marks. And then click enter. When you put a phrase in quotation marks, it's going to search for that exact phrase. If you were to leave it without quotation marks, then it would search for all three of those words throughout the book. Again, to exit out of the search result, you'll click the X button here. And to exit out of the search tab, you will click the X button to exit out of the search tab. So another hallmark feature of using Bookshelf is the ability to create highlights and notes. Every single Bookshelf user will start off with 3 default highlighter colors, and each of those highlighter colors will be associated with a highlighter name. However, you have the control to edit or delete those default highlighters, and you can create new highlighters that are more meaningful and customizable to you. To manage your highlighters, you'll click on the main menu icon at the top left of your screen, and you'll go down to highlighters. This is going to open up your highlighters, and as I mentioned, each Bookshelf user will start off with 3 default highlighter colors and highlighter names. So the default highlighters are going to be exam, important, and needs clarification. If you wish to edit one of those highlighters, you can simply click on the highlighter name. This would allow you to select a new highlighter color. So if you want this highlighter color to be purple instead, you can select purple. You can also assign your highlighter a new name. So you can assign this study group or midterm paper, or whichever highlighter name is more customizable to you. You'll also notice that you have the ability to turn your highlighters on to be public. For example, if I were to turn this exam highlighter on to be public, this would mean that anybody who is choosing to follow my highlights and notes would be able to see my highlights and notes. This is very beneficial for any student that is possibly studying with another student in the class and you wish to share the highlights and notes that you found really important in the book with each other. Or it may be beneficial if your instructor wishes to highlight important information in the book that you may want to pay close enough attention to. So to turn your highlighters on to public, that would only mean that they can be seen by anyone who chooses to follow you. In addition, that person must also have the same exact book as you. So not everyone will be able to see the highlights that you've made in the book unless they have the same book as you and unless they've chosen to follow you specifically. However, all of your highlighters are going to default to be unchecked so that they'll be private highlighters. So you will have to go into your Manage Highlighters section and turn on a specific highlighter to public if you do want to share your highlights and notes with someone else. So once you're satisfied with your edits, you can click Save, and that's going to save any changes that you made. You also have the ability to remove a highlighter that you do not wish to use. So if I wish to remove the Needs Clarification highlighter, I can select Remove. I can choose to permanently delete the highlighter as well as all of the highlights that are currently in the color pink. Or if I know that I have made highlights with the color pink before, I can merge those highlights with another existing highlighter, such as my exam or important highlighters. In addition, you can add as many additional highlighters as you want. To add a brand new highlighter, you can select Add New Highlighter. You'll choose a highlighter color and then assign your highlighter a name. Again, highlighters are always going to default to be private, but if you wish to turn this on to share it with other students in the class, then you can turn that on to be public. And then you'll click Save, and that will save that as a highlighter. I'm going to exit out of my highlighters. To actually make a highlighter in the book, you'll use your mouse to scroll over the text that you wish to highlight. Once you release your mouse, you'll get a pop-up that will display all of the highlighters and associated highlighter colors that you have. You can choose a specific highlighter by clicking on the actual highlighter. That is going to highlight the information. You can always change the highlight that you made by clicking on the highlighter again. You can delete the highlighter altogether, or you can assign it a different color. So if I want to make this my important highlighter, that would be the color yellow. I can click on the yellow circle, and that would change that to be the color yellow. You can also add a note to that specific highlighter as well. So if I wish to add a note to this highlight, I can click on it again. I can type in the note box here. Once you're satisfied with the note that you've made, simply click away from the box, and that is going to save that as a note, and it's going to add a visual reminder at the top of your highlight to let you know that this highlight includes an accompanying note. You can also copy the highlight that you made by selecting copy, and you can actually paste that into Microsoft Word, for example, and create possibly your own customized study guide. So again, making a highlight is you will use your mouse to scroll over the text that you wish to highlight. You can choose a highlighter color, or you can type in a highlighter note and then select a highlighter color, and that would give that highlight the visual reminder that you've added a note, as well as highlight that text in the specific color that you wish to highlight. One additional feature that you can use with highlighting is, let's say that you are studying for an exam and you're quickly making highlights. You can turn on what's called fast highlighting. To do that, you'll click on the highlighter icon at the bottom right of your screen. You'll turn on fast highlighting by selecting a specific highlighter color. So if I'm studying for an exam, I may want to choose my blue highlighter. Once I've selected blue, that's going to turn on fast highlighting, so that the next time I make a highlight, I will highlight the text that I wish to highlight, and that's automatically going to highlight that text in the color blue without giving me the pop-up and different options. So that's going to be fast highlighting. You can turn off fast highlighting at any time by re-clicking on the highlighter icon and clicking the X button to turn off fast highlighting. Once you've done that, the next time you create a highlight, once you release your mouse, you'll get that pop-up again. So as I mentioned before, you do have the ability to share your highlights and notes with other students in the class that you may be studying with. Your instructors can also share their highlights and notes with you as well. If you wish to follow someone, and by follow I mean if you wish to have access to their highlights and notes, you'll go into your main menu icon and you'll click the sharing button. The sharing button will allow you to see the people whose shared highlights you're following. So anyone who has designated one of their highlighters to be public, as well as anyone that you currently have the same ebook as, you have the ability to follow them. For example, if your instructor has turned on one of their highlighters to public, and they have let you know as a student that you have the ability to follow them to see the important information that they're highlighting, you can enter their email address to follow them. To enter someone's email, you'll click Enter Email. You'll type in your instructor's email address. You will need to know the email address that they use to create their bookshelf account with. Once you've typed in their email address, you'll click Add, and that will add them to your list of followers. And once you've added somebody as a follower, once they make a highlight with a highlighter that they've deemed as wanting it to be public, you would be able to see their highlights and notes. To unfollow someone at any time, you would simply click the unfollow button if you no longer wish to follow their shared highlights. You also have the ability to look for your followers, and these are people that have decided to follow you. So any highlights that you're currently leaving open to public, as well as if that person happens to have the same ebook as you, they'd be able to see any of your public highlighters. So if you're scrolling through your book, you will be able to naturally see all of the highlights and notes that you've made. You'll also be able to see any highlights and notes that somebody you are following has made. Your highlights and notes, as well as others' highlights and notes, are going to be organized within the Notebook tab. To click into the Notebook tab, you will hover over these icons here at the bottom left, and you'll click on the Notebook tab. Your Notebook tab is again going to display all of the highlights and notes that you've created in the book, as well as any highlights and notes that people you're following have created in the book. So you'll notice here that all of the highlights and notes that I've made are going to be displayed, and I can scroll through to see all of the highlights and notes that I've made. If I want to get to a specific highlighter, I can click within that highlighter, and that's going to take me directly to that section of the book in which I've made that highlight. From the Notebook tab, you also have the ability to delete or edit a highlighter as well. So if I click the drop-down arrow, I can click Delete Highlight, and that is going to delete the highlight that I made as well as the accompanying note. Or I can simply delete the note, and that would leave the highlight and delete the note. In addition, if I scroll through my Notebook tab here, you'll notice that I'm coming to a information that someone has highlighted, but instead of displaying it as fully highlighted, it's only displaying it as underlined. So this is a person that I am currently following in Bookshelf. So this is a person that has decided to leave their highlighters open to the public. It's a person that I have the same ebook as them, and I also know their email address that they use to create Bookshelf with. So because this person has allowed me to follow them and I have followed them back, I'm able to see the important information that they've highlighted. So if I click within the highlight that this person made, I can get taken directly to that section of the book in which they made their highlight. If I hover over it, I can see who exactly shared that highlight. It was shared by Jessica Thompson. The highlighter is in green, and the highlighter is called Class. In addition, you'll notice that the person has also made a note, and the note is important for next week's class. So for example, this may have been a highlight and note that my instructor made just to let me know that this might be important information that's going to be discussed in next week's class. So now that I can see that my instructor, Jessica, has made this highlight, I can study not only the highlighter, but anything around that highlighter as well, just for further information. So again, any highlight that someone that you're following has made is going to be displayed in the Notebook tab and in your book as underlined. So again, I can click specifically within that highlight and get taken directly to that section of the book in which my professor or my classmate has made that highlight, and I'm able to study the important information that they've taken note of as well. You also have the ability to quickly find a highlight or note by typing in the search box at the very top of your Notebook tab. So I can type in the word Medicare, and any highlight and or note that has the word Medicare in it will display here. In addition, if I wish to type in the word study, for example, any highlight or note that has the word study in it is going to be displayed. To exit out of a search, you'll just click the X button. You can also filter your Notebook tab. You can filter it to show you only highlights with notes by clicking on Notes, and that's going to filter down to only highlights that include notes. You can also filter by only highlights that have been created by others by clicking on others, and this would allow me to quickly see my instructor's highlights, for example, and I can click on their specific highlight and get taken directly to that page of the book. And if I want to go back to showing all, then I can just simply click on all, and that would show me all of the highlights. You also have the ability to print out just your highlights and notes from the Notebook tab. So in the Notebook tab itself, you will click on the print icon. This would allow you to select all of the notes and highlights that you wish to print. So if you only want to print the highlights and notes from Unit 1, you can just deselect Unit 2 and Unit 3 and only print those 11 highlights from Unit 1, for example. Or you can leave it selected to all, and then you'll click print, and that will print out all of your highlights and notes, as well as any highlights and notes that other people have made. A new feature that we've added to the Notebook tab is the ability to sync your notes and highlights to Microsoft OneNote. And this is helpful if you wish to create your own personal study guide or something like that. So I'm going to exit out of the Notebook tab. So I've just gone over two of the main hallmark features of using Bookshelf. The last thing that I wanted to talk about as a feature is the Figures tab. If I scroll down to the Figures icon, which is at the very bottom left, this is going to open up my Figures tab, and it's going to display all of the tables or figures or charts that exist in my ebook. Keep in mind that not every single ebook is going to have figures in it. So if the Figures tab is not available, you'll get a note that will just say that the Figures tab is not available in this book. In this particular book, there are numerous figures within the book. If you wish to click on a particular figure, it's going to show you that figure in sort of a larger view in the Figures tab. But if I click on the figure again, it's going to take me directly to that page of the book where the figure is. I can always exit out of here. You can quickly find a figure by typing in a keyword that displays in the figure itself. So for example, I typed in the word health, and that is going to display any figures that have the word health within the figure itself or in the notes of the figure. The last icon that I wanted to touch on is what's called the Labs, and the Labs feature will allow you to pull up the Labs tab, which will allow you to experiment with any features that we currently have in progress with Bookshelf. One of the biggest features that we do have in progress is what's called the Read Aloud feature. We already have the ability for the book to be read aloud to you through our desktop and mobile applications. However, in Bookshelf Online, we were still building that feature for you. To test out the Read Aloud feature, you'll click Go, and this is going to allow you to have the book be read aloud to you. So you can click the play button, and the book would begin reading to you, reading out loud to you. This is helpful if you are in the car or you're somewhere where you would just prefer to have the book read aloud to you. You can adjust the rate or the pitch, and then at any time you can exit out of Read Aloud by clicking the X button. So this is a feature that we still are working on, so if you wish to leave any feedback, you can select Leave Feedback, or you can select Thumbs Up or Thumbs Down. If I scroll down here, there's additional features that we do have available for people to test out. We have the ability for you to look up a word or phrase in Investopedia. So you can turn that feature on by clicking on the toggle button, and that will change that to green, and that will turn the feature on. So now when I go in my book, I can scroll over the word medical, and you'll notice that at the bottom of the pop-up, I'm going to be able to click on Look Up in Investopedia, and this is going to open up Investopedia for me and give me additional information. And again, to turn that off at any time, you'll just click the toggle button again, and that will turn that off. You also can turn the lookup in Wikipedia on, just like with lookup in Investopedia. If I were to turn that on, I can hover over or I can scroll over a specific word, and I can click lookup in Wikipedia. And you can turn that off at any time. And the same thing with the define button. You can turn that on, and the next time you were to hover over a specific word or phrase, you can click define, and that's going to open up a definition pop-up box for you. So you have full control over which features you want to turn on or off. They are going to default to be turned off, so you would need to go into Labs and manually turn them on if you wish to take advantage of them. Okay, and finally, since I've gone over most of the hallmark features of using Bookshelf, I just wanted to point out an additional feature within the Notebook tab. You'll notice that at the bottom of the Notebook tab, there is something that's called Launch Review Mode. If I select Launch Review Mode, this is going to allow me to study the notes and highlights that I or somebody that I'm following has made. So you can review your notebook, including notes and highlights that an instructor has made, using the review mode tool. So I can select Start Review. This is going to bring up a review mode, so you'll be temporarily taken out of the full view of Bookshelf, and you'll just get a view of the specific highlights and notes that you or your instructor has made in the book. So you will be able to review the highlight and note, as well as reviewing the context of where that highlight is in the book. You can click Next, and you'll get a progress report as you're going highlight by highlight. To exit out of that at any time, you'll click the Exit button. So as I have shown you before, if I were to click on the main menu icon here, I'm able to adjust my sharing options by following specific people, or I can create or edit or delete highlighters and turn on or off sharing options. But also from the main menu tab, there is a section that's called User Info. Your user info allows you to edit your Bookshelf account. You can edit your email address or your first and last name. You can change your password or change your security question. You also can see the devices that you've downloaded Bookshelf to. Bookshelf allows you to have Bookshelf downloaded to 2 computers and 2 mobile devices at any given time. So you have up to 4 devices that you can download your ebooks to, and that's not including Bookshelf Online. So technically that's 5 different options for you as far as downloading your books. And that can all be found, again, to the main menu. You can click on User Info, and you can edit your user account at any time. To get to your main Bookshelf library, you can click on the Home icon. If you click on the Home icon, this is going to take you back to your main Bookshelf library here, where you can see all of the books that you have on your Bookshelf account. Even if you only have 1 book on your Bookshelf account, that will still display in your main library view. If you have multiple books on your account and you wish to quickly filter by title or author, you can type in a title, and that will just display any titles that have that specific word in it. And again, you can exit out of there. You also can use the search icon by clicking on the magnifying glass icon at the top right of your screen. This would allow you to search throughout your book's content. So you can search across your entire library of information by typing in a word or phrase here. So for example, if I wish to type in biology, that's going to display any search results of where that word or phrase appears in books across my entire library of books. Clicking on at the top right of your screen, clicking on the user icon will again allow you to click on your account info. This will take you into your account information where you can edit any of your user info directly from there as well. You can also sign out of Bookshelf by clicking on your user icon and signing out. In addition, if you were to click on this square icon here, you can quickly get to our support page, which is found at support.vitalsource.com. Our support page offers a lot of information about using Bookshelf. There's numerous video tutorials, and there's also information on how to download Bookshelf to your mobile device or to your personal computer. If you do have a personal computer and you want to download your ebook for offline access, you can click on download, and this is going to allow you to read offline with our Bookshelf desktop application. Another way that you can access the Bookshelf desktop application is if you were actually within the book itself. If you click on the main menu icon, you can select Download App. That would download the Bookshelf desktop application for offline reading. If you already have the application downloaded, you can select Launch App. And this is going to launch the Bookshelf desktop application, and you can begin reading your book offline. So the Bookshelf desktop application allows you to take advantage of all of the hallmark features of Bookshelf, as well as making highlights and notes. You can search within your book, but you can do this all offline. If you make any highlights or notes in your desktop application, once you are connected to the internet again, your highlights and notes would sync up so that the next time you're in Bookshelf online, you would see all of the highlights and notes that you made on your desktop application. And likewise with the desktop application, if I were to click on highlights, I can see all of the highlights and notes that I've made within Bookshelf online. So everything does sync up. To access the Bookshelf mobile applications, you can download the Bookshelf mobile application to an iPhone or an Android or a Kindle Fire. You can go into the App Store on your mobile device directly, and you can search for VitalSource Bookshelf. Once you've downloaded the application, you would sign in with your Bookshelf account that you initially used to create your account with, and you'd have the ability to download your books directly to your mobile device as well. So you always have your books at your fingertips. So again, thank you guys so much for letting me take you through the hallmark features of using Bookshelf, and thank you very much for your time.